from Santiago, Sevilla. I had a shoulder scapula pain in the back of the shoulder for like 9 years. Got a lot better over time the last 5 years, so I was familiar with chronic pain. The reason why I came here, I had this really nagging pain here and really bad pain in the shoulder. It was getting to its 2nd anniversary. Because I had dealt 9 years in the past with something, I was not gonna deal 9 years again with anything else, so I decided to do something about it.
So Santiago came to the office because he had really bad shoulder pain, and he was also experiencing some numbness into his hand.
I do weddings for a living, and I was talking to a groom of mine, and we were talking about chronic pain, and I had said to him that I had gone to 2 different doctors and I didn't want to do a cortisone shot because I had had one in the past for the other shoulder. He mentioned that you guys were like life-changing stuff. I started following you on Instagram. One day I just decided to just send you guys a message, and the rest is history. That was a good almost 5 months ago. Disc degeneration. My vertebrae here, there was not enough cushion in between, so they were both like pressing against each other, making the nerve, constrained, and it just caused pain here and pain here. The worst part was like trying to take my jacket off or take my jacket on. So I work with a tuxedo. 90% of the times I have a tuxedo on. Whenever I needed to take my jacket off, it was just the worst experience for me. And then it came to a point that even getting dressed to work was becoming an issue. And then resting, I like to sleep sideways, and I've always rotated between one side and the other. And for almost a year, I just was able to sleep on this side. It was awkward. I couldn't sit for more than half an hour without having like glaring pain here, and it became unbearable. I was in a bad mood a lot because of it, because it's just nagging. Your cup is half full most of the time just because you're dealing with that. So my patience level was very low.
As we proceeded with the exam, we diagnosed him with 3 big things. He had mild to moderate disc degeneration in his neck. He has shoulder impingement, which means that the tendon in his shoulder was catching when he would move his arm in certain movements. And the numbness in his hand was due to adhesion that's built up here on the side of his neck.
When I met him, I really liked him. He was very, very nice. He explained what it was. I was very hesitant at the beginning because being already to physical therapy didn't do shit for me. So I figured you were just another type of physical therapy place. I just told him kind of like one of the symptoms, but then he started telling me, you probably will experience pain here and then here. Do you have numbness in these 2 fingers? And when he was talking to me, describing other things that I deal with that I just didn't mention just because this was the main problem, I was like, okay, this guy knows exactly what I'm dealing with. So I really liked my first consultation with him. I was very impressed that he was able to know about my pain so quickly. So I said, okay, let's give this a try. The first 3 visits, I felt no difference. So I was starting to get a little bit discouraged because I was like, I don't know if this is working, because I felt absolutely no difference. He did mention that the first few times I was so damaged that it would take a while. Once I started feeling better, it just kept becoming better and better and better.
What was really cool about when we started to treat Santiago is as we started to clean up his neck here, remove the adhesion, and that nerve was able to gloss or slide correctly, a lot of his shoulder pain started to go away. He's like, this is amazing, I don't know what you're doing, you didn't even touch my shoulder. We ultimately got into treating his shoulder. He used to have a problem putting on a jacket. He couldn't reach back like this. Once we started working on the shoulder, he's like, look, I could do this. It's the first time I'm doing this in years. I can sleep on my shoulder. This is amazing. The numbness and tingling in his hand was still there a little bit. So what we did is we used some of the pressure wave and some of the instrument, and we freed up adhesion that's developed in his palm over here and into his forearm into here as well. And his response was, I never realized my hand was this bad until you worked on it, and I really get a sense of I can feel my hand again.
I go days without any pain. I do have some soreness sometimes, or some pain sometimes, but it's really nothing compared to where it was. Same thing with feeling in my hand. I didn't realize, and God knows how long I was dealing with less sensitivity on my hand. There was a particular time, maybe my 7th or 8th visit, he worked on my hand and my forearm, and I was able to feel so much better with my hand. And I remember they were laughing because it was like I discovered my hand again. It was just great. Sometimes you live with some pain because they're rubbing this metal against your muscles. You leave sore. But it's almost like working out. Like, you're sore, but then you see results. I equate it to that. Like, yes, you're sore. 2-3 days later, you just feel the difference. And I'm very happy that I met you guys because it's really life-changing stuff. I was just telling Dr. Joe today, I was able to sleep on this side for basically the whole night last night. I don't have any issues dressing or undressing. I don't have any issues at the gym. To me, for me to do push-ups was very difficult because I will have forearm pain, shoulder pain. It was just difficult. And my trainer had like a lot of limitations, and now I don't.
But he's somebody who, there was a lot going on, and in his mind he's like, oh, it's my shoulder, it's my shoulder. In fact, there was actually 2 or 3 pieces of the puzzle that really had to be put together and explained to him, and he totally got it. He listened to all the suggestions that we gave him. I'm happy to say he's like 85-90% better and understands that there are some limitations moving forward, but he's aware what he can and cannot do, but more importantly, things to continue to make him feel better and to improve upon his condition.
It doesn't feel like any other doctor's office. Like, it's not stuffy and it's not boring. Like, one of my favorite things, like, you walk in, there's a bunch of plants everywhere, and I love plants, and I really like that. Everybody's got like this really nice attitude. When they ask you how you're doing, they generally like, they ask you how you're doing, and then they're like waiting for the answer. Like, you know, it's just, I love coming here. I have a cousin of mine who's been dealing with chronic pain with his neck and shoulder blade. He was dealing with that for over a couple of years. I think he was dealing with that over 2 years. It was like an aha moment. I was like, dude, you have chronic pain too. Why don't you go see them? He's been seeing you guys. He's, I think, on his 7th or 8th visit, and he already told me his pain went from like a 9 to a 4. To answer your question, I would recommend whoever's dealing with pain, come here. This is the first time that I have somebody literally reduce the amount of pain without giving me any pills, without making me go to, like, you know, get an injection anywhere. It's just therapy, and I feel a lot better.